Hi guys, and welcome to another video. And I've just realised I was walking the wrong way for the intro, because what we need to see behind me is that it's the Manor House Museum at Ilkley in West Yorkshire. And we've got a lot to unpack in this week's edition of the Roman Gazette. The Manor House is built into a corner of the Roman fort that was first established here in AD 79, AD 80. And there's lots of questions for us to investigate here today. But if you follow me over here, you'll get some impression of the size of the fort platform that we are stood on here. We've got to work out what the Romans called this place. The experts cannot decide. We've got a Roman river goddess implicated in that discussion. We've got Roman altars. We've got the daughter of a Celtic Briton married to a Roman. We've got a Romano British family. And then finally, we've got a possible Roman swastika stone. Here at WC21 UK Productions Limited, we don't like to take the Michael with our vlogging. So I'm not going to take all the paraphernalia into the museum. I'm just going to take this little pocket camera so we can get the footage, and then I'll talk all over the top of it. So for many years, it was established that this place was called Olicana by the Romans. It's referred to by Ptolemy and other reference material as that name, if it's the right place. But then latterly there's been a view that that is wrong, and that Olicana was a corruption of Alenicum, which is a fort over the other side of Skipton at Elslack, and that this place was actually called Verbeia. And you're probably now looking at some sort of overlay of the Verbeia altar stone that I filmed inside the museum. Verbeia was a river goddess, a Roman deity from the River Wharfe that runs below the fort. Replica next to it was made in 1608, by the way, when they could still make out the writing, the inscription on it. And then there's another Verbeia altar stone inside St Mary's Church next door, but that seems to be all locked up. And although that one is still on display, apparently all the other Roman pagan altars have now been removed from there. So whilst we're in the museum, as well as looking at the amazing Verbeia altar stone, we'll also take a look at a tombstone, apparently to a Celtic British woman who was the daughter of an important Celtic chieftain from the Roxeter area. And apparently she married into the Roman community here, and that's why she was buried here. And as well as that, we've got this absolutely squee-tastic gravestone for a Romano British family. I think this is absolutely amazing, and it just shows how similar in reality their life was to ours all those years ago. The Roman Gazette definitely plumps for Olicana. This is what this place was called. It's Olicana, it's not Verbeia, as intoxicating as she is. The lady in there was very helpful, and I must apologise, I forgot to remember her name. Hopefully she's a subscriber now. This sign tells us all about how the manor house was built into the remains of the Roman fort. I didn't need to read that, by the way. I knew it all anyway. And you can see that most vividly how the manor house was built into the fort here on this side, where there is this surviving stretch of the actual Roman stonework from the fort at Olicana. And then there's this last bit of stonework here at the corner, and then it just disappears, and we've got the earthwork. It's quite a formidable structure, and you'll note there's a bench which is not in the shade. Take note of that, Peter. But it stretches all the way along here. In fact, I wish that bench was in the shade. It's baking again. Might have to discard the tweed soon. Things are getting that drastic. And then if we go over here, we'll see there's another platform level, and then we can understand the relationship with the river wharf, dedicated to the deity Verbeia. Another level coming down there, and then another terraced level there, and then we're down at the river wharf. So it really was quite a formidable fort. This bench is mercifully in the shade, and somehow my camera bag's already got here. Not sure whether that will give you any sense of the scale of it, but it's quite a big fort in reality, and clearly built to be visible along this prominent river, not in the shade. Fort behind me, and then we are here at the river wharf that the Romans dedicated to one of their many gods, Verbeia. All made up gods are hilarious, but the fact the Romans had so many of them is just astonishing. And I like to think about who it was that made them up, who first made up the god. So who decided we needed a river deity called Verbeia? I believe that originated somewhere in Europe, but when they came here to what would become West Yorkshire, they decided the river wharf needed to be dedicated to her. I've just made up a new deity myself. It's the goddess of YouTube. Her name is Subscriptia, and I will get 1,000 of them if it's the last thing I do. Right, we've come up to the edge of the quaint Victorian spa town of Ilkley, and our next destination is to get up here to see if we can find the famous Swastika stone. Now it is really hot, so I am abandoning tweed at a pretty drastic rate now. Seriously though, you guys, the things I do for you. Let's do this. As I struggle up this massive hill to educate you guys, I just thought I'd clarify what we're saying on the Roman Gazette about this naming thing. So Olicana is referenced by Ptolemy. It's also in those records of routes that I can't remember the name for. I'll put that down there. Whereas the Verbeia theory that some modern experts have is based purely on the discovery of two altars dedicated to Verbeia, whereas Verbeia was a pre-existing Roman deity. This is what we've got to tackle. It's the steep escarpment up onto Ilkley Moor. Oh no, not walk-by shots. This is not for serious rambling hikers and scramblers. It's way too hot and I'm inappropriately attired. Oh no, not walking feet shots as well. Excuse my heavy breathing. I'll pause for a quick breather here and we'll zoom in down. Here is where the wobbly finger. Down here is where the fort was. So quite a setting. You've probably just seen a long sequence of me walking and climbing up Ilkley Moor. Well, that was in completely the wrong direction. I even asked somebody and they confirmed I was on track, but I wasn't. So for you guys, I've turned around. I've walked probably another 3 miles in sweltering heat to bring you here to the famous Swastika stone. Caged Ministry of Works style for its own protection. This is a very significant feature on the edge of Ilkley Moor, overlooking the valley. It's quite away from the fort in all reality, but if we add some sort of overlay, I'll show you both the original artwork, which is very faint, and then a replica that has been put in place at some stage. Clearly this swastika, if that is the right description, and incidentally I met some people on the way up and asked them for directions, and they said they'd seen the sign, and in a very woke way they said they think it's about time they changed that. But I actually think the swastika does go back a long time. It's not just, it was just hijacked, wasn't it, by the Nazis. This symbol, this swastika, for want of a better word, was used by the Lingones, or Lingons, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. They were from Gaul, but also from the Adriatic. They went over to the Adriatic at some stage. And the interesting thing is that the cohort that is known to have been stationed at Olicana, at the fort that we've been looking at today, were the Lingones. They were recruited from the Celtic Lingones tribe. So there's a lot to suggest that one day, perhaps on their day off, some of the soldiers came up here and carved a symbol from their historic association with a Celtic tribe. How good is that then? Romano Celtic artwork on the Roman Gazette. Another thing I just wanted to clear up on our earlier discussion about the name of the fort, and we've agreed that it's Olicana as opposed to Verbeia. Interestingly, I think that you can see possibly the derivation in Ilkley from Olicana, Ilkley, Olicana, Ilkley. I think you could see how that could have happened. And interestingly, in the Domesday Book, there are various versions of it. One of them is Ilkley. It is times like this when I feel that we really need the help of our good friend Allotment Fox. It has been an exhausting vlog for me, but very rewarding, and I hope you have enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe. You'll understand I'm absolutely whacked now. I can't be doing with a prolonged and agonising ending, so I'm going to deploy this handy get out of jail free card that I have on this vape. Until next time, if I survive, until next time, stay safe and stay tuned.